Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Wednesday, December the 13th. Welcome to our video commentary. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of big stories in the news, the election in Alabama, my thoughts and my reaction to that, and also the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General, speaking in front of the House today about the Russia collusion investigation and some of the problems the investigation is having. Let me begin with Alabama. I was not a supporter of Judge Moore. I thought, a few months ago, obviously I don't live in Alabama, so I don't get to vote. But from a distance, it did look to me like Judge Moore was the weakest of the three men who were running for in that primary. I think the Republicans would have done better with the existing Senator Strange or with another gentleman, Mr. Brooks, who was also running. So Judge Moore was the weakest of the three. I still thought he was going to win, honestly, because it's Alabama, and I thought that the margin of error in Alabama was so big that even Judge Moore would be able to win with such a margin of error. This is, after all, a state that Donald Trump won by 28 points. So you have a big margin of error when you're talking about leads like that. Unfortunately, the election became all about character. It didn't help that the Washington Post dropped that article a month before the election. I mean, it was just simply too much character problems, or too many character problems for Judge Moore. So a Democrat who has absolutely nothing in common with the people of Alabama, a pro-abortion, pro-Obamacare liberal Democrat, snuck in with 49.6, something like that, percentage of the vote. And that's it. That's it. Alabama will now have a liberal senator, which is, I'm sure, a shock for most of the people in Alabama to consider. But on the other hand, when you nominate somebody who has problems, you sometimes run the risk of losing elections. And this is the lesson I think we have to learn, that it's one thing to win the primary, it's quite another thing to win the election. And I just hope that the next time we're nominating people in the primary, we ask ourselves the question, how electable is this person? We have some potential victories this year in West Virginia, Missouri, Indiana, North Dakota, Montana. Those are all states that a good Republican should be able to win in a year 2018. Those are 5 states where those pickups would do a great deal to offset the loss in Alabama. But we got to make sure we've got good, strong candidates. That has to be the primary goal of these primaries. That was not what happened in Alabama. We ended up with the weakest candidate, and now we have a liberal representing the state of Alabama. Now that also presents other problems, by the way. I think that Doug Jones is going to have a very difficult time being popular in Alabama when he starts casting votes, basically Democrat votes. So he has his own problems to look forward to. But for the time being, they have a seat and we don't. And that's not something that should have happened in Alabama. I mentioned that the Deputy Attorney General was before the House today, and he was answering some very good questions about the staffing issues in the Mueller investigation. Look, it's getting, frankly, to be more and more difficult to support that investigation, given all these staffing problems. You have a guy who's tweeting or texting anti-Trump information. You have another guy who was at the Clinton victory party, or what they thought would be the Clinton victory party. The bottom line is, I don't know how those guys made it to this investigation. I mean, there should have been some filter in the staffing process that these 2 guys should have never been allowed. There's more than 2, by the way. I think there's 4 altogether. These people should have never been put on this investigation. I mean, any defense attorney would have deleted candidates like this or people like this from the jury. So I don't know how in the world they made it to this jury, and how in the world, particularly this guy named Peter, whose last name is kind of strange, I don't know how in the world this guy ever made it, considering his obvious anti-Trump and pro-Hillary Clinton position on so many issues. So I think that this Mueller investigation is right now entering a very critical stage. And unless he can put up something very quickly, I think patience is going to run out on the part of the House. And I'm telling you, the questions that the Deputy Attorney General we're getting today were very good questions. And I thought that Representative Gowdy got to the heart of the matter. He said, look, the reason we have an independent counsel is that so we don't have a conflict of interest. But how can you not have a conflict of interest when you have people in your staff who are pro-Clinton? I thought that was a fascinating, or anti-Trump, I should say, fascinating question. Thank you for watching. We have all of these videos over at YouTube, also at the Twitter, and at my blog. Thank you for watching. Everybody have a wonderful day. Bye-bye, everybody.